85% of people hate their jobs. They despise their work. They despise what they're doing. They don't feel like it's fulfilling. They feel like it's a dead end. They feel like their bosses are out to get them. And this mindset, this hate for the 9-to-5 system is sort of pervading across the internet and in our culture. So I'm going to give you guys a kind of contrarian viewpoint on a 9-to-5 so that we can better use what we're experiencing in our jobs and in our roles and in our professions so that we can reframe it, so that we can transition into entrepreneurship, into sales, into whatever we find that's going to give us the best earning potential in the best way. I want you guys to be well equipped to be able to give yourself the best opportunity right now to look at how you're evaluating yourself at your job and be able to see it in a positive light so that you can eventually use it to transition, right? Because there's two ways you can go about your 9-to-5, right? Option one is the pessimistic way. And I've had this experience, right? And I'll tell you what, working under someone who is lazy, working under someone who is content with little, who is late, who is unprofessional, who is just not willing to, coach everyone and train everyone around them is a very discouraging environment, and it brings you down. So if you're experiencing something like that, right, which I have in the past, you need to figure out first what you need to do to possibly improve the situation, right? Like if you're in a job and you know what you want, you want to develop your leadership skills, you want to develop your sales skills, you want to develop your management capabilities. But the person that you're working with, your business partner or your boss, right, who's supposed to be aiding you and assisting you and getting everyone on the same page so that we can aspire to achieve the goals we want, then if that dynamic is off, right, you need to figure out what you can do to first improve it. If you don't see improvement, right, or you don't feel like the effort you're putting towards your business partner is like being mutually accepted and mutually like, okay, like, yes, you're right, I need to fix this, I need to focus on doing this better, right? If it's more of like more of them not willing to take the constructive criticism and sort of repelling and blaming and not taking that accountability, then you have to figure out how you can get out of that environment, right? Because I had to do that a few months ago, right? I'm in a much better position now, but as far as my individual career goes, right, like it's a lot easier now to work with someone who's better, right? Who brings out the best in you and who wants to see the best in you, right? Like, learning how to manage, learning how to lead, learning how to sell, like all of these things are extremely valuable as far as, not only aiding a business, but running your own business, right? Or running your own whatever form of self-employment you're pursuing, right? Like you need to know how to do these things. So the biggest thing that will hold you back is the person that you're working with, right? And obviously, it's not only them, right? It's not only your boss that's holding you back, right? But if your boss is in your way and you feel like the mutual understanding of what we're about is not accepted and not taken seriously, then you have to figure out how to get into other environments. Maybe you have to transfer to a different location. Maybe you have to leave the company and go work for someone else who is more on the same page as you, right? But you're that's the first layer to it, right? Like if you're in the wrong environment, the first step to you ascending towards your financial freedom and building your skill set is you getting into the right environment, is you getting into an environment where you can flourish and grow from that point, right? So and then as far as like what to how to adopt your frame of reference, your framework when you're in that environment, like you need to look at what you're doing right now, not in a way where it's like, because look, let's face it, right? Most people, when they're in a job, they're looking at it like, how can I get out of here and just go into my own business, right? But when you step back for a second and realize like, wait, instead of trying to escape this, right? Because everyone's saying escape the 9-to-5, which I get, right? Like, we all want to be free. We all want to have our autonomy, but you have to look at your job as a way to like adopt the ownership mentality. Like, hey, like if I'm gonna be a business owner, or if I'm gonna run my own show, like it's me, right? It's on me. So if I'm not disciplined, or if I'm not consistent, right, or I don't know how to lead, or I don't know how to guide someone, right, well, then obviously I'm not fit for whatever I want to do. Content creation, entrepreneurship, even investing, even handling money management, right? Managing my own money. Because if I can't even manage myself, if I can't show up on time, or I can't hold people accountable, or I can't have difficult conversations, then how am I going to do that when I'm on my own, right? So, we like to separate the job from the imagined business or entrepreneurial venture that we want to place ourselves in. But when you realize that your job right now is sort of like your training ground for that future endeavor, or that future profession of you being your own, your own business owner, basically, then that sort of framework is going to be absolutely crucial and important for you to execute on a daily basis, because now you're building the skill set. So when that time comes, when you're able to transition, or you're able to put yourself in a position to grow in your own business, right, and start to see results, you've already learned all the skills from your prior job, your prior role, or at least most of them, or at least some of them, so that you can now learn other ones, right? You don't want to go into like a business and not know shit, right? Like you're gonna not make any money, right? You're gonna lose. So I just think it's very important that you understand that your skills, like you learning the skills, is going to be very crucial. Learning how to talk to people, learning how to understand how other people, what they're experiencing, right? Learning how to also deal with people giving you feedback, right? Learning how to deal with constructive criticism coming down on you, right? Like, are you going to be the one to blame? Are you going to be the one to lash out or say it's not me? Like, as a leader, that's the worst look, right? Even if you're wrong, or even if it may have not been you who made the mistake or did something wrong, it's still good for you to look and reflect and be like, okay, maybe how could I have contributed to this mistake not happening, and how can I contribute to it not happening in the future, right? Like I know it sounds like weird, and it sounds kind of like you're being hard on yourself, but that's what's ultimately going to give you the best results, not only in your job, but in a future business, a future startup, whatever the case is. So like, use your job right now to learn these leadership skills, these sales skills, these, management, accountability skills that you'll need to not only apply to yourself, but apply to other people, right? If you have your own employees, so that one day, you're well equipped to deal with anything that comes your way that's difficult, and you're not like thrown off or caught off guard when something comes your way. Like, you're like, no, well, shit, I've fucking dealt with that 5 years ago in my role as a corporate, director, or whatever the case may be, right? So I just, obviously, and then there's the people that say, well, I'm limited in my job, my earning potential is limited, I'm not able to continue to grow. And if you, like I said, if you feel like you're not earning what you need to earn, if you feel like you're not learning the skills that you need to learn, then you need to understand that you need to make a pivot, right? The worst thing you can do is stay in an environment or stay in a situation where you feel like your time is like long overdue. Like you've been in the same role for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and you just feel like, it's like no matter what you do, it feels like there's a glass ceiling that just won't burst. If you feel like that, right, and then there's an opportunity that comes your way, or you find an opportunity that comes your way to where you can develop a wider skill set, right? Maybe you earn a little bit more or a little bit less, and you're able to, advance. Then you have to lean into your intuition. You have to lean into your faith that there's a better way out there. There's a better opportunity out there. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case for everybody, right? Some people need to transfer. Some people need to leave their company they're currently in, right? Or some people just need to take the leap and quit their job and just dive right in, right? If they're ready. So it just depends what stage you're at, right? But as far as knowing which stage you're in, that's important, right? So I just wanted to make this video to kind of give you guys, shed some light as far as like how you can reframe your 9 to 5, how you can look at it as something positive instead of something negative. Because let's face it, right? You know, most businesses take a while to build, right? They take a while to learn. They take a while to start to become profitable. So, you know, if you're spending 40, you know, like most of us are, if you're spending 40, 50 hours a week, you know, at your 9 to 5, at least make those 40 to 50 hours, at least try to frame them in a positive way so that you can not be so stressed out and depressed, right? When, you know, your business is like kind of stagnant or just not moving as fast as you'd like it, right? Because, you know, it's easy for us to hate our lives and hate ourselves and beat ourselves up or just get impatient when things are slow or they're not moving like we anticipate. And then now we hate our jobs. We go to our jobs with a shit attitude. We have a poor mindset about it. We blame other people, right? We complain, all sorts of things, right? So I just want to help you guys to navigate where you're at right now, especially if you're in a job, if you're in a leadership role, so that you can positively and, you know, with the least amount of resistance, navigate your 40-hour work week with the best possible outlook, and obviously, you know, get the best results possible for you and the business you're working for. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.